brief history of the Kuwait Fire Service Directorate. The state of Kuwait was among the most important states, which followed the development quickly after exploration of oil, where the great need for the available of fire services for Kuwait society from one side and for its connection with other sectors in Kuwait from another side. In 1946, Kuwait people were using primitive methods to fight fire by using donkeys and mules to pull water cap. For 1946, tankers supplied with a hose and a pump to help people in extinguishing a fire. Another tanker was brought to be an assistant in 1949, and according to the increase of fires need in 1950, fire brigades were supplied with a new 4 vehicles with 30 firemen, until fire stations was established in public workers' garage and was called Station 2. Another in Shueikh called Station 3, supplied with a vehicle and 16 firemen. Joining the public workers and municipal brigades. During 1959 and 1960, an old port of the fire stations was established called Station 5, supplied with an ambulance, a tanker. A year after, a number of secondary school graduates worked in fire stations, fire fundamentals, and sent to the UK to be qualified as fire officers. Along the development, firemen are being well educated, and along the technology, they are coping with all the new technology of the fire services and the fire technology to ensure the safety of the people among the state of Kuwait. Over the years, they came and development of new stations were developed in the state of Kuwait. In each government of Kuwait, new fire stations were established to fulfill the need and secure the governance, since a lot of fires were erupting along the way. Hello and welcome to our program, The Call of Duty. I'm First Lieutenant Ali. The profession of a firefighter is a highly demanding physically job and requires a lot of professionalism. Firefighters are rescuing their lives just to save the lives and the properties of the people. In the state of Kuwait, the firefighters are on a high alert, and every day in their job, they go in, leaving their families, not knowing if they're gonna get back home, just to do their profession and to stick to their values, and their values such as honor, integrity, and loyalty that they have for the state of Kuwait. As they always say, the firefighters are the friends of the community. So throughout the day, they faced numerous situations. It could be in high-rise buildings, and other situations it could be even in the middle of the Gulf. People are drowning and asking for help. So we're prepared for the worst. And let's move on right now. We're going to talk more about the situations that we run through, and let's go to the news section, and we're going to talk about more about the highlights and the numerous situations that actually occurred in the past few days. Huge fires occurred, and gladly there were not a lot of human loss. Most of the losses were financial losses, except one situation. Sadly, we're going to talk about it later. A family lost their lives, and I'm sadly to say that. And on behalf of the Kuwait Fire Service Directorate, I want to pass our condolences to the families of the lost ones. Stay tuned with us and we'll get back. Our second news of the week, a fire erupted in Khaitan area. A devastating fire erupted in one of the apartments in the commercial buildings in Khaitan area. Sadly to say that fire particularly, it's a unique fire that happened in a way that people were sleeping in the middle of the night, and can you imagine smoke just came out from the sofa. And what happened is that is due to one bad habit. It is smoking. Can you imagine smoking a cigarette that killed an entire family? Stay tuned with us and we'll watch this report together. We'll be back. The Kuwait Fire Service Directorate Investigation Department inspects the gutted area of a living room of an apartment in Khaitan. An Egyptian family of 5 died in a fire that broke out in their apartment in Khaitan area on Friday afternoon, according to a press statement issued by the Kuwait Fire Service Directorate. High-ranking officials, including Director General of Kuwait Fire Service Lieutenant General Yusuf Al-Ansari, visited the site. An investigation has been launched to identify the circumstances of the tragic incident. we are here in one of the kitchens in the houses, and as we've seen, a lot of the mates at the kitchen and actually the chef, what they do is they tend to forget what they're cooking, and they just go and do other things. And what that's going to lead to, that's going to lead to one of the causes of fire that happens in the kitchen. So we have just seen together that the chef also missed one other thing, that after he switched off the gas, he didn't properly switch it off. So that will lead to a gas leakage in the kitchen. That's very crucial and very dangerous. And how can you react in a gas leakage? We're going to talk about this furthermore. But for this time being, well, we're going to talk about how to maintain the gas and throughout the year, and what's the proper procedure. The number one thing you need to do is, like we said, you need to make sure that you switch off the gas after every use. This is step number one. Step number two, what you got to do is, you got to make sure that the hose is properly hooked and not really stuck to any sharp edges. This is number two. Number three is to detect any gas leakage through this hose. What I need to do is I could have a sponge with me with some soap and some soap. What I need to do is I can properly go through this hose and make sure that is there any gas leakage. That will detect any bubbles throughout this hose, and I can see if any bubbles will pop up through this hose. That shows me that I have a problem with it and I need to replace this hose. So by this, we know how to properly maintain our system right here, and so that will be for your own safety. So as a parent, if we experience a gas leakage in our house, how can we react? You gotta do the three major steps. Number one, if the switch is on, make sure it's on and don't turn it off. This is number one. Number two, go to the source of the leakage and turn off the gas. Number three, you gotta make sure you do the proper circulation for the area for the gas to get out. And make sure, number four, you also leave the premises without touching anything as soon as possible, and make sure you gotta call the emergency line 112 for the firefighters to arrive and secure the whole area. We have reached today's end of the episode, but before I go, remember that in all times to protect your family and the loved ones, make sure that all times you have a fire extinguisher and a smoke detector in your house. And all of the situations that we run through, the people lack awareness, and that's where the fire starts to take over. And like we said, again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact the fire departments or log into our websites that are showing on the screen for any questions or any queries. And with that, I will leave you with next week with another episode on the Call of Duty. Goodbye.